Okay. I've never used that before. This is the City of Monterey Appeals Hearing Board. And we have myself, Daryl Hawkins, current chairman, Kent Glenzer is here, and Stephen Milich is online. So the first question usually is any comments from the public that we have to consider or look at.
At this time, I don't see any public comments.
Okay. Next then is, I guess, we go on to the agenda, which I'm glancing at. I guess the first thing is, yes, is the review of the minutes from past meetings. We have August 28th, 2020, February 3rd, 2021, and February 9th, 2021. And unless there is a reason not to by anyone, we can go ahead and approve all three of those minutes, which I think we've all received and read. Stephen, do you have any comments on those? Are you comfortable approving all three?
I would so move, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. Roll call?
Let's see if there's any public comment on the consent agenda.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Any comments?
At this time, I don't see any public comments on the
Okay.
consent agenda.
Okay, good. Want a roll call on the approval of the minutes?
Sure. Board Member Glenzer,
Approve.
Chair Hawkins,
Approve?
and Board Member Milich.
I approve.
Okay, the minutes are approved 3-0.
Okay. The next item is, I guess we're now up, we're a 4-year term, but we're up for selection of the chair and vice chair every year. Is that correct? Okay.
Yes, Ms. Davi is representing the board today.
Okay.
I'm sorry, were you looking at her? Yes, that's what the item is for.
Okay. So I have enjoyed doing it. I would welcome a change if you're so inclined, and
I would move to have Chair Hawkins serve another year. If he would accept it.
if you wish, that's your choice.
I would second that.
Okay.
There needs to be public comment also on this item.
Okay. Are there any public comments
No
regarding this?
No public comments at this time.
Okay. Want to call for the vote?
Okay, to have board member, vice chair, to have Chair Hawkins remain on as the chair. Board member Glenzer, how do you vote?
Yes.
Board member Milich, how do you vote?
Yes,
And Chair Hawkins.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes 3-0.
Okay. I'm not even sure who the vice chair is. Stephen. Okay.
No, I don't have. I
Was
can
that a
get
part of the
information.
motion? I don't think it,
No.
it wasn't.
yeah.
Okay, so we do need to select a vice chair still.
Okay. Okay. I like having the background of Stephen on the board. He helps me out a lot. So I would happily move to appoint Stephen Milich as our vice chair.
I would second.
And I'm assuming there was no public comment on the, normally it's done together, but
Okay.
I would just say that at my age, the term vice in front of chair is perhaps misguided. But I would be happy to serve for another year.
Okay. Call for vote.
I'm sorry, I was missing, was that you guys?
This is for
Vice Chair
Stephen as
Millett.
vice chair.
Thank you so much. To keep, or to have to have Board Member Milich become the vice chair. Board Member Glenzer, how do you vote?
Yes.
Chair Hawkins
Yes.
and Board Member Milich.
Yes.
Okay, the motion passes 3-0.
Okay. Is our appellant on yet?
Not at this time, sir. Are you here to make a public comment or are you the appellant? Okay.
Okay.
Okay, give us just a minute, okay?
So unfortunately, we had a bit of a technical difficulty and the lamp has blown out of the projector. And we thought you were appearing via Zoom. So I have a PowerPoint that can be shown on Zoom and to the public on the
And the monitors.
TV. But if you want to just come and look. Yeah.
Or
basically
Karen,
the-
I can
maybe,
move.
why don't we just print out a copy and then he can,
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, it's just the code sections, but we're happy to provide you a copy too. Okay. So.
why don't I go ahead and introduce the item?
Yeah.
It's the public hearing. It's an appeal of the police chief's revocation of a massage establishment permit number YL 1300403 for Comfort Massage and Spa located at 379 Lighthouse Avenue, Monterey. The appellant is Scott G. Nagiri, the Entrust Group, Inc. I'm Christine Davy. I'm the city attorney for the city of Monterey. We have instituted in our office a due process screen or an ethical screen, as they call it, meaning that Ms. Salama, the assistant city attorney, and I have not had any discussion on this case. And she is representing the department in this matter, and I will be advising the appeals hearing board. And so that screen is to ensure that due process is preserved. So I wanted to make that disclosure from the outset.
Ms. Davi,
Yes.
Stephen Millen, Chair. Is the only issue before us on this appeal the 5-year revocation, 5-year prohibition? Because after all, the person whose license was revoked is not appealing.
Right. The issue is the 5-year.
Okay, so that's the only thing we're concerned.
Right. But we can hear from the appellant if we're misstating that somehow, but I believe that's the case.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. I do inform the parties that this is informal hearing. Informal rules of evidence do not apply. The board may consider any evidence or information deemed relevant and reasonably reliable. And so do we start then with the police on their comments?
Yes, so we have a brief presentation. We generally go first because we have the burden of proof, which is a preponderance of the evidence. I have a brief PowerPoint presentation.
Okay.
I know it's been a while since the board had a massage establishment permit hearing from the police department. So I just wanted to kind of lay a foundation first on the city code sections we're dealing with today. And then we'll hear from our police officers who
Okay.
actually did the investigation.
Okay,
So-
good.
I'm going to briefly share my screen here. Let me get over to Zoom. Okay. Do you see the PowerPoint presentation?
Yes.
Okay.
Is that Comfood or Comfort?
Comfoot. I don't know if I'm saying it perfectly, but
Okay.
so at
It
379.
might be a typo.
So the city code, section 21-31.3 makes it unlawful to operate a massage establishment without first obtaining a massage establishment permit from the police chief. In this case, Comfort Massage did obtain a permit You'll hear testimony from that about that. But they did not comply with the other regulations. So the code also makes the operator responsible for all conduct that occurs on the establishment of their employees, agents, other representatives while on the premises. So these are the city code regulations that the police department alleges were violated in this case. And these are also all in the agenda packet, the agenda report that was published and provided to the board and appellant. So there are a number of them. Perhaps the most significant, massage may only be provided by a certified massage therapist or practitioner. So the state licenses massage therapists and practitioners through the California Massage Therapy Council, CAMTC. Additionally, under subsection 3B, no person may perform massage on the premises unless listed on the massage establishment permit. So when the police department issues the permit, it specifies the people actually approved to perform massage at that establishment. In subsection E, no massage establishment may operate under changed conditions from those approved in the permit. So for example, if Joe Smith was authorized to perform massage, but you want Jane Doe, you have to apply for a permit amendment first to change the name of those individuals. Under subsection 5F, the permit application must contain the name of all individuals who will perform massage on the premises. A few more here. 5G, the application must contain a copy of each employee's CAMTC identification card. And then in subsection 13C2, each employee performing massage must display on his or her person a valid ID card. Copies of that card also must be kept in an accessible location on site so that the police department can check that when they do a compliance check. And the ID cards must also be displayed in the main entryway or reception area of the massage establishment. In subsection 13K, the name of the on-site manager must also be displayed in the main entry area. And finally, in subsection 13Q, only managers, massage therapists, patrons, or a patron's immediate family member may be in treatment areas. So you can't have other random people in the massage establishment area kind of past the entryway. So if those sections are violated, then we have permit revocation, which is why we're here today. And so these sections lay out the three city code sections that the department alleges justified revocation in this case. And again, these are all in the packet. So in this case, the person to whom the massage establishment permit has been issued or people employed by that person violated those sections we just mentioned, or under B5, that they engaged in misrepresentation. So in this case, we allege that occurred when the people listed on the massage establishment application then were not actually performing massage. And then under B7, if massage is or has been performed on the establishment premises by a person who is not duly authorized by the CAMTC to perform massage. So board member Millage earlier asked about this section. Under the city code, if a massage establishment permit is revoked or not renewed as a result of violations, no massage establishment permit may be issued at that location for a period of 5 years from the date of the revocation or non-renewal. So it's the department's position that if a revocation is upheld, if you find today that the regulations and the violations that the department found on site, that those occurred and the revocation was appropriate, that then the city code provision regarding the 5 years is a mandatory provision that isn't subject to discretion of the board. So that's the department's position with respect to that section. Okay, so I'm gonna stop my sharing. And the first witness the department is gonna call is Detective Camtc. Okay, you could come over here. Just, if you could just make sure the mic is on. Yeah. Is the light on below? Okay, perfect. Mr. Hawkins, do you want to swear in Ms. Zook? Or do you want me to do that?
I'll let you do that.
Okay, could you raise your right hand? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth today? Okay, thank you. Can you state your name for the board? And where do you work? What's-
Can't hear you.
I'm currently employed with the Monterey Police Department.
Is your mic on?
I wanna see.
Oh, there we go now.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
So to answer your question, I am currently employed with the Monterey Police Department.
and what is your title?
I am a detective.
And on August 20th, 2021, did you go to Comfort Massage at 379 Lighthouse?
Yes, I did.
Okay, and why did you go there?
Just prior to our visit there, we had a reporting party come into the station to report being the victim of a sexual battery that had occurred by an employee of the establishment. We went to the establishment to follow up to contact the possible suspect and to further investigate that allegation.
When you went to Comfort, what did you find there?
When I arrived, we contacted the sole occupant of the business. He identified himself as David verbally and provided us with a California driver's license with the name of Hao Ao Zhang.
And he was the only person on site at that time, is that right?
That's correct. He said he arrived that morning at about 9:50 in the morning and had been the only person on the premises since his arrival. Employee.
And was he a CAMTC licensed massage practitioner?
He was not. He verbally advised that he was not certified, and I later confirmed through the CMAT website that he was also not certified.
Was he listed on Comfort's massage permit as authorized to perform massage?
No, he was not.
Do you know if he performed massage services that day at Comfort?
Yes, he had.
And did he tell you that personally?
Yes, he told me that personally, and he was also positively identified in a photographic lineup by the reporting party.
And you mentioned he is not licensed, so then I'm assuming he did not have a CMACT ID displayed on his person,
That's correct.
and it would not then have been in the entryway either.
That's correct.
Was the name of the on-site manager posted in the entryway?
I do not recall if the manager was posted. There was the City of Monterey licensing was posted, as well as the owner's information.
Was there a manager on site at the time?
There was not.
And were there, you mentioned Zhao, or I don't think David, let's call him.
Okay.
You mentioned David was the only person on site at that time. Is that right?
Yes,
So there were no licensed massage therapists on site at that time.
correct.
Okay. That's all of my questions for you. Now, the appellant has the right to cross-examine any witnesses if you'd like to do that.
I could make a quick statement if you all don't mind, if it's all a lot of time.
Procedurally, you'll have the opportunity to make an argument at the end, but this now would be your chance to ask any questions of the witness at this time.
I have no questions. Thank you.
Okay, you can step down.
Okay, thank you.
The department's next witness is Lieutenant Castro. Okay. Lieutenant Castro, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth today?
I do.
Okay. You can be seated.
Thank you.
And could you state your full name for the board?
Yes, it's Gabriel Castor, Kaster.
And where do you work?
I work for the Monterey Police Department.
And what is your title?
I'm a patrol lieutenant.
Jumping, we just heard from Detective Zook about an instance in August. Now, in September, did you go to Comfort Massage?
I did.
When was that?
It was September 6th.
And why did you go there then?
I had learned about the initial sexual battery that had occurred that Detective Zook was investigating. We learned of another one that occurred approximately 2 weeks later on the 4th. We received the report on the 5th. So I went to the location to conduct follow-up for the second investigation and to do a site inspection, as well as give them a suspension letter.
And just to clarify, this was a second separate report of a assault or battery on the site, is that right?
Correct.
Okay. When you went there on the 6th, what did you find?
I was greeted at the front by a gentleman named, he called himself Peter, but his name was Xiaoben Zhang. And there was another gal in there who called herself Jennifer, and her name was Yuzhen Huang.
And were those individuals authorized to perform massage at Comfort on their massage establishment permit?
They were not.
Do you know if they were CMATC licensed massage practitioners?
They were not.
What were they doing at Comfort Massage?
We'll call him Peter. Peter stated he was performing massage that day, and he stated he was training Jennifer.
Did Jennifer say if she performed massage?
She did not.
Okay. But Peter had performed massage that day, is that right?
Correct.
Now, you mentioned they were not licensed. Did they have a valid CMATC identification card on their person?
They did not.
And so a copy of their identification card was also not displayed in the main entryway, is that right?
That is correct.
Was there a manager on site at the time?
There was not. I requested Peter to call the manager and have him respond to the location so I could speak with him, but he was not on site.
Okay. And were there any CAMTC licensed massage therapists on site at the time?
There were not.
Had Peter entered the massage treatment area and permitted patrons also into the massage treatment area that day?
Yes, he did.
Okay. And he did that when there were no certified massage therapists on site. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yep.
Okay. And you mentioned you went there also to serve a suspension letter.
Correct. Chief Hober and I had discussed the 2 sexual batteries that we had been investigating and the violations of their permit. And we came to the conclusion that we wanted to draft a suspension letter, putting them on notice for the issues and crimes that were occurring at their location.
Mm-hmm. And that was following you and Chief Hober had made the decision regarding the suspension following the original August incident. Is that right?
Coupled with the second sexual battery that had occurred.
Okay. Okay. I have no further questions. Do you want to do cross-examination?
No question. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Step down. The department's final witness is Chief Hober. Okay. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth today? Can you state your name for the board?
Yes. David J. Hober, Hober.
And you work for the city of Monterey?
Yes, ma'am.
And your title?
I'm the chief of police.
Okay. If next to you there on the table is the agenda packet, and if you turn to attachment 1 in the packet,
Is it item one or is there an attachment as well?
There's an
Okay.
attachment to the Comfort agenda item. It should be your
Got it.
letter dated September 8th.
Thank you, sir. Okay,
Okay. So you see the September 8th, 2021 letter.
yes,
Do you recognize that letter?
yes,
Did you write the letter?
yes. I drafted this letter.
And can you tell us what it generally is regarding?
It's generally regarding the issues that were occurring at Comfort Massage at 379 Lighthouse that we've just heard about with the 2 sexual batteries that caused our personnel to go to those locations and see what was occurring there. And it goes through the code sections that you were talking about the different violations related to the municipal code, section 2231. And that I was relating that no massage may be provided at Comfort.
And did you, so you mentioned it discusses the different code sections we mentioned being violated. And then if you turn to the final page, it says in bold there, do you see? It appears you made the decision to revoke the permit. Is that correct?
Yes, that I was revoking the permit.
Why did you make the decision to revoke the permit?
Well, there were obviously the different violations, but the main reason that I revoked the permit was because I was greatly concerned that there was an immediate and significant threat to the public health and safety of our public after we've been made aware of 2 independent and separate sexual batteries by unlicensed massage therapists. And it's a very basic aspect to have your massage therapist go through the training and to ensure that they are certified so that things like this don't occur. So my biggest reason for making that decision to revoke was I was very concerned about the management of a massage establishment that on 2 occasions we had 2 independent people telling us they were sexually battered. In addition to all of the other issues that were not occurring there, it's also very important that a manager is on site to oversee what's occurring to make sure that there are no issues like this that might happen. We also had information of the other issues that were occurring there.
Mhm. Now, based on your years in law enforcement, why is it important for the therapist to be CAMTC licensed?
Well, I guess I would liken it to anything that we are ensuring is done professionally, that they have training. And the CAMTC certification requires 500 hours of training. They have to go through the state. They have to get vetted by the state. And so that's kind of the baseline for why we want that. It also is to ensure that they are appropriately administering the massage. And the whole reason for this section in our municipal code is to ensure that we are protecting the public, that businesses like this are operating as they should, but also to ensure that there is not any kind of sex crimes occurring.
Are you aware that the city code mandates that if a massage establishment permit is revoked, no massage establishment permit may then be issued for that same location for a period of 5 years?
Yes.
Okay. Based on your years in law enforcement, why do you think this is an important provision?
Sometimes what we see in the massage industry is that different groups of ownership will have different LLCs or different corporations, and they will change ownership. And as a result of that, if somebody is not allowed to have this massage at that location, all that would happen is that the ownership would simply change to somebody else that oftentimes is a friend or somehow related to the original owner. And as a result, that's my understanding of why state guidelines and why we have that in place. It's a best practice that if somebody has an issue such as this where their permit is revoked, that somebody else can't have it for 5 years.
Okay. I have no more questions for Chief Hober. Do you have
I
any?
have no question.
Okay. And does the board have any questions for the department at this time?
I do. Chief Ober, this 5-year prohibition is automatically applied according to the code. Have you ever had occasion to use this on other massage parlors where their license has been revoked by you?
Well, if we have revoked the license, then it automatically occurs that that location cannot have a similar business for 5 years. And yes, I think in the 6.5 years I've been here, I believe we've revoked 3 or 4 other permits that this then would apply to.
And you've applied this prohibition?
Well, the
5 years.
prohibition is automatically applied once the permit is revoked.
Okay, thank you. I have no further questions.
And a follow-up, is this a local ordinance or is this based upon state requirements?
So the law relates in the state of California that cities can invoke or can establish their own municipal codes to regulate massage industry. And so what was done here was the city attorney's office drafted a code, the current code that we have, and it was actually updated to a previous code, I think about 6 years ago, following best practices for municipalities that want to regulate the massage industry in their cities.
Okay. Were these 2 people ever charged or arrested or convicted of this?
So what occurs when we have any kind of a crime is we submit that to the district attorney's office.
Mhm.
And it's my understanding that the district attorney's office did not file charges on the first individual, and the second individual that is still in process with the DA's office. They haven't made a determination yet.
Okay, thank you.
Chief Ober, how, in terms of the revocation of the license, how important in that decision was or were the 2 incidents of alleged sexual battery?
I have revoked permits for different reasons, but to me, it needs to be something that's substantial and that is occurring that sometimes if we go through a process for some of the various code violations, we might just cite them for those. But that was the 2 primary factors in me determining to revoke were that I had 2 individuals relating to me that they felt that they were sexually battered. That gives me great concern as somebody who lives here, as somebody who has family and friends that live here that go to have massage, that I don't want ever somebody to be sexually battered. So that was the primary reason for the revocation, in addition to the fact that we had 2. And finally, the fact that there was no manager on scene. And in fact, in some of the discussions that we had with the person who was designated to be the manager, he told us that he knew that he was supposed to have certified massage therapists, but that he didn't. So those multiple reasons are the reasons that I decided that this needed to be revoked so that nobody else was victimized.
If I may ask one follow-up question of Chief Hober. Chief Hober, do you believe that not having the CMHCC license and the training that goes along with it can contribute to instances of sexual batteries, given that the massage practitioner has not been properly trained?
So I think that could contribute, and I don't know exactly what happened, but certainly if somebody is not trained appropriately, they might massage in an area or close to an area that they otherwise would have been trained not to. That's one aspect. The other aspect is it could have been that the person purposefully did this. So if we go with the first item of it was not purposeful and they simply weren't trained, then absolutely.
Mhm. Okay. If there's no other questions by the board, the appellant would now have an opportunity to ask any follow-up questions in response to the most recent round of questioning.
Okay. Down.
Then now would be the time for the appellant to put on any case that you would like to present.
Good morning, Scott Negri, 540 El Dorado, Monterey. First of all, thank you for your service, and I'm sorry this went on. Thank you for your service, and I apologize you all had to waste your morning being here. I had no idea you were going to be here. My bad for not asking, but I would not have asked you to take time out of your day to be here. I also have no problem whatsoever with you revoking their permit. What they did, forgetting the allegations, they were wrong and they deserved it. The problem I have is for the next 5 years, I have a hard time leasing my building. I understand from the city of Monterey, and I've seen it around town, that maybe the city doesn't want certain establishments. I have no problem with that. But by putting a 5-year moratorium on my building, I can't even, example, expand my Anytime Fitness and have them do massage. I could not have a suntan place and have them do a massage. I cannot do restaurants there. So I keep getting restricted back more and more and more restaurants because of the water of what I can and cannot lease in my building. So you're, in essence, through no fault of mine, you've taken away their permit, agreed, but now I'm restricted on my building for 5 years on how I can lease it, if it's even leasable. And that's the problem I have. If it was something that I did, I was in charge of, I was aware of, I'll take full responsibility. But to just put a 5-year moratorium against all massage, I don't think is fair. I would offer the compromise of, and I agree, I've heard the same stories that one license will pass. But what about the idea of the primary use can't be a massage? So if I got a Pilates studio who also did, physical therapy, if I got a physical therapy who also did massage, it gives me a little opportunity to lease my building. That's all I'm asking for. I thank you for your time. Again, I apologize for wasting your whole time this morning. Thank you. Any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Just one question, which is an obvious one. But what I'm hearing is you totally accept the facts of this case as they've been presented.
No,
Is that correct?
absolutely.
Okay.
I get, yes, I do. I'm not about to go against anything they said. Yes. Thank you all for your time.
Thank you.
Could the department clarify one thing about the city code? Would that be acceptable to the board?
Sure.
I just wanted to state for the record and for appellant, if, for example, a gym wants to perform massage, like you mentioned, Anytime Fitness, expanding into the other portion of the building. If the massage for a gym or fitness center is 10% or less of their business, then they don't actually require a massage establishment permit. So they could do massage as part of the overarching fitness business. You also don't have to have a massage establishment permit. For example, if you're a chiropractor, a licensed state chiropractor, or a licensed physical therapist, and you're doing it as part of your duties. So there are still other ways. It's not a prohibition on massage services being performed on that site. It's a prohibition on the need for a massage establishment permit, which is a slight but important nuance.
Okay. Thank you. What's next?
Public comment would be next. I don't know if there's any attendees on Zoom. Ms. Salas, you might want to recite the methods for people watching to how they can participate and call in to the hearing.
Public comment. To join the Zoom meeting from your computer or phone, use the link on your phone number. Use the link or phone number on the agenda posted at isearch.org. To join by phone, dial 833-568-8864. It's toll-free number. Enter the meeting ID number 160638-8185. That's 160638-8185. 388185. If prompted for the participant ID, press pound. To provide public comment via Zoom, please use the raise your hand function at the bottom of the screen. To provide comments by phone, dial *9 to raise your hand, then *6 to unmute when called upon. Public commenters will be announced using their last 3 phone number digits or the name typed into Zoom. Public commenters will be muted until it is their time to speak. Please turn off your TV or computer speakers or go to another room while connected, as background noise interferes with the broadcast. Public speakers will be called upon in order of hands raised. There's a 3-minute time limit for today's meeting. Please stay within that time limit. At this time, I don't see any public comment.
And the record could reflect that there are no participants in the audience here for public comment purposes either. So maybe give it 1 more minute and then you can close public comment and deliberate.
Okay.
Any other participants on Zoom?
Not at this time.
Okay, I think you can proceed.
Okay, good. Thank you for all the background information and comments. We appreciate that. So now we will discuss it at the board level for any comments or questions or thoughts.
I have a question for the attorney, I think. In this case, which it has been a long time since there's been this kind of a case in front of the appeals board, could you help frame or perhaps reframe or reiterate within the bounds of the purview of this board, what options do we have in front of us that we are able to say yes or no to? I hope that question made sense.
It does make sense. And so the board obviously is free to act as it chooses to act. I might frame the answer in terms of, should you act a certain way, what might happen on a subsequent appeal. So here, the board is to review whether there's been an underlying violation. It seems that the evidence has been submitted and there's no disagreement over the fact that these violations did occur. And the code does have a predetermined length of time for a suspension of operating a similar establishment at that location. And that is discretion has not been built into the code for the board to depart from that. Now, should the board depart from that, that would be an issue potentially by a court at some other point. But the code has a 5-year limitation, and my recommendation would be to follow the code.
So thanks for that. That was my understanding. So thank you for settling that for me. It just, in terms of my deliberation on this, it seems like the facts of the case are the facts of the case. It seems like the Monterey police are within their discretion of interpreting the facts and taking action as they have. I don't see, personally, I don't see what discretion I have right now other than to approve and go forwards, or whatever is the right language, with the decision from the police department. I don't see any place for myself to insert myself into that.
Okay. Stephen, any thoughts or comments?
Well, the reason I asked the question of the police chief about enforcement was to see whether or not this 5-year prohibition had been uniformly enforced. And it has been uniformly enforced. I also understand the reason behind the 5 years, having been in the city attorney's office down in Southern California. I had seen this exact ill or evil occur, where one group of people were operating illegally, and when they were removed and the license revoked, another group moved in that were part of the same group, and they just went from city to city doing this. So I understand the reason for it. I also understand that it's being enforced literally. And I also understand that we really have, if we're going to do our duty and do our job, we really have nothing we can do other than deny the appeal and uphold the police department.
Okay, my comment is, I've been an architect here for 50 years. I've designed multiple 2-3-story buildings, commercial buildings. And massage is not the only possible tenant out there. I've remodeled buildings that I designed for multiple tenants with slightly different needs. So to say that you're dependent upon massage, I don't feel is correct. There's many, many different other types of tenants in needs for space. Unfortunately, right now, the demand is not high, but it will come back.
If it's appropriate, I move that we deny the appeal.
Okay,
I'll second that.
okay, good.
Okay, we'll call for the vote. Vice Chair Milich,
I vote yes,
to deny the,
to deny the appeal, yes.
Chair Hawkins
Yes,
and Board Member Glenzer.
Yes, I vote to deny the appeal.
Okay, the motion passes 3-0.
thank you.
All for your time, your service to our community, much appreciated.
The last item on the agenda is just board member comments.
Okay,
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
thank you for being here, Stephen. And
Happy holidays to everyone.
yes. I think we're through.
And I
We'll close the
adjourn?
meeting.
Okay, adjourn.